questions. Go ahead, Savannah.
Yeah, Tony, we do have some questions, and if we need to go over by a few minutes, we can definitely do that as well. Just as long as you guys have time to stay on, but feel free to jump off if you need to. Sarah, do you want to read a couple of the questions? I know she's been responding to some of you via chat, but want to share them just in case, everyone else might get some value out of the questions.
Sure. So we have the question, can we still only have one photo on our profile? So at this time, you are able to upload one profile photo for yourself. If there are additional photos that you want added to your profile that show up on the consumer side of OpenTable for your diners, then you could email your account manager which photos you want added. We also have an integration with Instagram now. So if you send your account manager or OpenTable support your Instagram handle, we can feed the 30 most recent photos from your Instagram into the consumer side of your restaurant profile. So that's also an option to get more photos.
Awesome. Thank you.
Another question, what is the widget? So the reservation widget that Tony went over is a widget that you would place on your website to allow diners who are discovering you through your website to easily book a reservation all in one place. So instead of making them go to OpenTable or taking them to a different site, this allows them to book a reservation all within your site.
Yeah, and just a note about that too is when someone makes a reservation using that widget on your website, it is typically at a lower cost per cover than if they had to go to OpenTable and make that reservation there. So that's another benefit of adding the widget to your website.
Another question, will we ever be moving to including a widget that allows for reservations every 15 minutes? It currently offers only 30-minute increments. That is something we will have to follow up with the team. There's a separate team that manages that widget. So I can follow up with you directly, Kate, on that.
Yeah, and that's good feedback. And kind of these webinars are great for you to kind of give feedback on features you like and things you wish we had that maybe we don't. And we will always provide that feedback to the product manager. So thanks for that. Another question that came through was, how do seasonal promos help my restaurant? And where do diners see the seasonal promos? So the seasonal promos in the marketing section of GuestCenter Admin, one thing to note is that they are free. So that's additional exposure that you get when you add information about those. And there are a couple of ways that those show up to diners. One is we have an email featuring your restaurant. So we send out emails around those times, and anybody who signed up for those free promos will typically get featured in those emails. So that's more exposure to diners, and our huge network of diners, your restaurant will show up for them. And then also, I don't know if you've seen the promo section of OpenTable, the consumer side. Basically, there's like Thanksgiving promo section, for example, and your restaurant will also show up there under that promo section. So those are really good free exposure for you. So I encourage you all to sign up.
Great. There was a question about the user access controls and how right now we just have the two for front of house and all access, and if we plan to build that out anymore and allow even more customizability there. Right now, we just have those two. We've been talking with the product team, and there are eventual plans to build out additional controls, but they still need to look into what that would take. We do understand there's a lot of different roles within the restaurant, and it would be helpful to have each role to have different access to parts of GuestCenter Admin. So as of now, we just have the two, which gives access to what Tony covered. But as we build that out and scope that out, you can always reach out to your account manager for a status update on how that's going. All right, let's see what else we have. There was a question about merging guest contacts. So right now we have a feature that automatically merges guest contacts if they have an exact match of first name, last name, and phone number, and the email field is optional. So right now that's the extent of our merging. We've seen that that's been able to cut down our customers' reservation books when they have duplicate profiles. And that's the extent of the merging right now. The team's still need to think about the option for manually merging and archiving guests. So those are features that are on our radar, but we are not sure yet when they'll be coming down the pipe. Again, you can always follow up with your account manager as these quarters and months go on to get status updates on those. Tony addressed adding a second email address to the monthly covers report. So just quickly to re-review that, you can go into the reporting section of GuestCenter Admin, and you can go on in there and add any additional recipients and unsubscribe yourself or resubscribe yourself. Users can go in and do that. There was a question, how do we print individual chits to hand to waiters? So that's something that would be set up in your GuestCenter iPad. There's an option to set up chit printing. So you would just have to go through there, set up a compatible chit printer. Compatible chit printers can be found on our community site. So I'm not sure. Do you know the URLs? We can also send it out.
We'll send out a link to that.
Yeah, so you would just set up a wireless chit printer, and then it would print out a chit every time that you have a reservation. You could hand that to your waiter right before. Let's see. Is there a way to separate reservation report not only by date, but time of day? Example 5 to 8 is our busy time. So the way to do that would be right now would be to actually export the report and play around with it a little bit in Excel. Right now you are just able to filter it by days of the week, not necessarily time ranges. So the workaround there right now would be to export the report and then filter out the days and times outside of a certain shift within that document. When will we be able to access our full guest list in the desktop version? That's something that we have not established yet. There's a lot of discovery and research that goes into when we build features on GuestCenter iPad versus GuestCenter Web. So we don't have a timeline on that yet. What you can do right now through GuestCenter Web at least is search for guests and search for reservations, which should hopefully make it easier for anyone making reservations online. All right, another question. What about POS integration for actual sales data? So right now we do have POS integration. We are partnered with 6 POS providers. We can send out that list as well after this webinar. And depending on if you use that POS system, we could get you onto POS integration as soon as you'd like. If you are not partnered with one of those POS partners, we would love to hear who you are partnered with. We're constantly taking in feedback from customers to establish which partners we should be establishing a relationship with next. So we'll send you information about that, and please provide any feedback there. Another question about guest merge that I addressed with the auto merge. Let's see. Can we use the reservation reporting feature to compare from past years using this new system? So right now, what that would be is also a workaround. You would export into Excel, and you could export your report from last year compared to your report for this year. We do plan to start building out this reporting section a lot more. There's a lot of exciting reports coming down the pike. So something that we are keeping in mind is what you're asking about, thinking about year-over-year data. So we don't have a specific timeline on when that might come. While we're talking about reporting, I also want to talk about our GuestCenter iPhone app for owners and managers. So in there, you can see on-demand reporting and cover counts. And what we'll be releasing soon is showing some week-over-week data and trends there. So that'll be super useful to have on hand. We do not have a report that would show gift card liability reporting, no. Let's see. I'm just reading through these questions.
Thank you all for all of your questions.
Yeah,
it's really
thank
nice
you.
to have
great.
you super engaged on the webinar, and if there is something that, you think of later that we haven't answered on this webinar, please just send us an email. There are a couple different emails you can use. You can email training at OpenTable, and we'll also provide an email in our follow-up when we send the recording for this webinar. I think we're running out of time, so if we haven't answered your question, we have a list of all of them, so we'll make sure to follow up with you and send you an answer to your question. But again, thank you, Tony. This has been really great. Thank you, Sarah, for answering the questions. And most of all, thank you all for taking the time to join us. We hope you found this useful. Also, just a quick note, on our Learn site, we do have other webinars that we're hosting. So if you found this useful, please check out the Learn site to get access to more webinars. We have like floor plan training and things like that. So we're really excited to offer these and give this extra kind of value add to you guys. So everyone have a great rest of your day, and we will see you on the next webinar. Thanks.
Bye, everyone.